immigrationquestion.com, your go-to resource for U.S. immigration insights. We provide clear immigration news and information. Our platform provides a network of licensed attorneys who can answer your questions and guide you through the process. From visas to green cards, asylums to citizenships, immigrationquestion.com helps you to network with immigration attorneys so that you can move forward with confidence. Sign up today or download the app. Free registration, limited time offer. Stay tuned. We go live in 30 seconds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition webinar hosted by immigrationquestion.com, a networking platform and meeting ground where immigrants, families, advocates, and licensed immigration attorneys come together to understand U.S. immigration policies and procedures better. My name is Chibi Situsa, and I will be your host for today's important discussion, Understanding VAWA Self-Petitions, Eligibility and Process. Now, for some individuals, the path to lawful status does not depend on a sponsoring relative. The VAWA or VAWA self-petition offers a way forward under specific legal conditions, allowing eligible applicants to pursue immigration relief independently. Now, in situations where traditional family-based processes are not an option, this pathway provides an alternative grounded in protections built into immigration law. Now, for many individuals, navigating this process can be challenging due to the type of documentation required and the sensitive nature of the circumstances involved. Careful preparation, strong supporting evidence, and a clear understanding of how the process works can make a meaningful difference in how these cases are presented and reviewed. To help us break this down, we are honored to be joined by attorney Josie Morais, an immigration lawyer based in Boston, Massachusetts, specializing in U.S. immigration law. She frequently shares content related to green cards, asylum, and immigration strategies with a focus on serving the Brazilian community in the United States. Attorney Morais, thank you for joining us today. We're thrilled to have you in this special edition.
Thank you so much, Lesson, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you all and to share a little bit about what I know, what I have learned throughout the years.
Yes. Now, before we begin, attorney, a quick reminder to our audience, immigrationquestion.com is a public educational and networking platform. The information shared today is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute individualized legal advice. If you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or any other platform, welcome. Please subscribe and share this session with anyone who may benefit from understanding VAWA self-petitions. Attorney Morais, let's dive right in. Can you explain what a VAWA self-petition is and who it is designed to protect?
So a VAWA is an humanitarian case. It's focused for a specific class of people, right? Who are those? The spouses of U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents, but also the child of U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents, and also the parents of U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens who are over 21 years of age. And we're talking about immediate relatives, right? So spouses, children, and parents of U.S. citizens, mostly, and spouses and children of permanent residents.
All right. Now, what are the key eligibility requirements for someone seeking to file a VAWA self-petition?
The eligibility, first, the relationship. We need to prove that you are the spouse. You need to prove, or you believe it, had the true belief that you were the spouse. Sometimes that may not happen, legally speaking, because of the U.S. citizens, bigamy, or some other thing, right? But you believed, you lived with that person, you were pretty sure that you were the spouse. Also proved that you are the child, and also proving you are the parent of the U.S. citizen. I just want to make clear, because the application for parents it's not very common, and it's only for parents of U.S. citizens. When we're talking about children and spouses, we're talking about U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So back to the response. Proving the relationship. Okay. Evidence of the abuse. You need to prove also that you have good moral character. These are the three eligibility criteria for this kind of application.
Okay. Now, what types of evidence are typically used to support a VAWA case?
In the VAWA setting, it's usually the best available evidence, right? But in case you do not have the original documents, right? The marriage certificate, birth certificates, this to prove the relationship. To prove the abuse, the victim has to prove like whatever they have taken. Like sometimes people are afraid to report, right? But a police report would be something. Psychological evaluation is very, very important. People who know the relationship, who are aware of how things work, also cannot pass to that as evidence of the abuse, right? As evidence of good moral character, then we have to be very careful, right? Because you need to prove that no criminal records, that will have like the good moral character, which is a little bit, how can I say the words? Not very objective, right? Good moral character. Like, have you used fake documents? Have you lied in application? Have you been convicted of a crime or charged? It depends on what kind of crime. So this is what we need to be attentive to, the good moral character prong. Okay.
Now, attorney, how does the application process work from filing to decision?
Prepare the whole application. We mail it to USCIS. They are taking recently a long time to issue the receipt notices, right? So after they issue the receipt notice, as VAWA today is taking about 4 years to get a decision, right? In the meantime, we may get letters, like bona fide letters, where the applicant can apply for public benefits. This is a humanitarian case, so many times people are in a very difficult situation. So they can apply for some public benefits based on the letter they received from the government while the application is pending. And they cannot get work authorization while the application is pending. Okay. The work authorization will only be issued to them once the I-130 is approved. Okay. If they only have the VAWA application filed. Of course, this kind of petition, it leads to the green card. It may lead to the green card, right? The requirements for the VAWA are different from the requirements for the green card application. So before doing anything, you need to be open to your attorney and disclose your immigration history all your life. Because if you file for the green card and you have inadmissibility issues, that will get your life a little bit more complicated. You can just have the VAWA and having the work authorization based on that application. It's not a real status, but it's some protection.
Okay. All right. Now, attorney, what are some common challenges applicants face when preparing a VAWA petition?
They don't have the initial evidence that we need, like the marriage certificate. They cannot prove that the spouse is a permanent resident or a citizen. So sometimes they have this kind of difficulties, but they could be overcome even through the legislation, like asking USCIS to search the records for the spouse. Okay. I think at the most, and sometimes people don't want to talk because of the trauma of the abuse. Sometimes people are very, how can I say, we get used to everything in life, including to bad things, right? So sometimes people take a long time to realize that they are living that kind of situation, abusive relationship. When we talk about abuse, it's not just physical abuse. We have mental, emotional, psychological, financial, technical tech abuse. So it's hard. The first thing for a VAWA applicant is to identify what kind of relationship they are living at. And after they have identified that, have the courage to take these steps, right? The other thing, there are some timelines that we need to observe, right? One of the requirements, the VAWA applicant has to live or have lived with the abuser, the spouse abuser. This is one requirement, right? Not just the relationship, but have lived together. And if they divorce, there is a statutory period that we need to observe before filing for the VAWA, which is 2 years after the divorce. So you cannot wait too much. If you realize where you're living, you will decide to move on with your life and leave that relationship, and you do not have any immigration status, you have this deadline of 2 years after the divorce.
All right. Now, Attorney, how does a VAWA self-petition connect to adjustment of status for those seeking permanent residence?
So if your relationship is to a U.S. citizen, right? And if after you talk to your attorney and you do not have inadmissibility issues, you can file the VAWA concurrently with the green card petition. The good thing about the VAWA, this is very important for people to know, is that because it's a humanitarian case, the spouse abuser, or they do not have the information about that. They do not need to participate. Actually, they are not even supposed to know that you have that application mailed out, right? Because you are telling the government, I've been a victim. So it's confidential. It's completely confidential, that application. Even we should provide a safe mailing address so the spouse doesn't have access to your application. And in the aspect of the abuse, we know that it's common for when in this kind of situation, using your immigration status to coerce you, to punish you, to make you feel less as a person just because you're an immigrant. So this application is confidential. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, if the relationship is to a U.S. citizen, you can file the adjustment of status application concurrently with the VAWA. If the relationship is to a legal permanent residence, then we need to check the visibility, because there is a prior, I forgot the word, but there is a cap. If you're married to a green card holder, there is a cap limit by year. So you need to check the visibility and if you can file for the green card at the same time, or you need to wait.
All right. Now, what practical advice can you provide or give someone considering this form of relief?
Advice. First of all, it's not just about immigration, it's about your personal life, right? So marriage. If you are living under fear, under threat, if you are living in a relationship that you are not seeing yourself valued, you do not need to continue in that situation just because you need a document. This is the first thing. Besides immigration, this is the first thing. The person is a human being, right? And then after that, look for professionals who can really work with you and understand your situation and help you get out of that, and also get this kind of release. Okay? Do not lie on the application. Do not create facts. Just be truthful to what has happened to you, and look for help. The advice: do not be in the situation that you need to life. Just be.
Thank you so much, Attorney Morais, for those valuable insights. It's been truly an interesting session so far. Now, for everyone watching, this conversation about VAWA self-petitions is not meant to create confusion, but to provide clarity around an important form of immigration relief. Now, there are cases, or there are cases that often involve unique circumstances, and knowing how to prepare and present can help individuals approach the process with greater confidence. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. ImmigrationQuestion.com is a networking platform where users can ask immigration related questions at no cost and engage with participating attorneys. We're also proud to share that ImmigrationQuestion.com is triple B accredited and ISO certified, reflecting our commitments to transparency, accountability, community education, and security. Attorney Morais, based on your experience, how does ImmigrationQuestion.com help immigrants and immigration attorneys like yourself?
I think knowledge is power, right? So the more people get aware of the possibilities and have access to information, I think that is the most important way that we can help people. And also the practitioners also helping one another. What I really like about the immigration field is how the immigration attorneys, they cooperate with each other in support of the community, in support of the immigration of our clients, of the mission. And immigration questions, like providing information is the key.
The ultimate key. Thank you so much, Attorney, for sharing those thoughts.
And not just information, but good information, right?
Thank you, Attorney. Thank you. Now, before we move into our live Q&A session, Attorney, let's tackle this very important question. What are some common misconceptions about the VAWA self-petitions that you believe individuals should clarify in order to avoid any misunderstandings?
Say it again, sorry, I missed the first.
What are some of the common misconceptions about VAWA self-petitions that individuals or that you believe individuals should clarify in order to avoid any misunderstandings?
One of the misconceptions that VAWA, because the act talks about violence against women, but actually is meant for men and women, right? Not only women are victims of abuse in a relationship, also men are victims. So I think one of the misconceptions is this one.
All right. If you're just joining us, we've been speaking with Attorney Josie Morais on understanding VAWA self-petitions, eligibility, and process. We're now moving into our live Q&A session. This is your opportunity to ask general questions and hear educational insights from a licensed immigration attorney. Please drop those questions in the chat or call us live at 516-703-3483, and we'll take as many as time permits. All right, our first question from Aninia Kohonen. Sorry about that. Can I apply for VAWA if my spouse never filed papers for me?
Good question. Yes, definitely. If you are married and you need to work on the documents, and one of the purpose of the VAWA is exactly that, because some spouses, they use your immigration status against you. And sometimes they threaten their spouses to report them to immigration, or I'm going to file your papers just if you are a nice person. If you're nice to me, I'll do whatever I want. So that is the purpose of VAWA application, is to set you free, let's say like this, from your abuser.
All right.
You won't have knowledge, you won't participate on the case, nothing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tony. Question from Seti. Please, can men also apply for VAWA?
Yes, the answer is yes. As I said, one of misconceptions is that VAWA is for women. It's for women and for men. Mm-hmm.
All right. Zoltan is asking, what kind of proof do I need if I don't have police reports?
Okay. Your affidavit, your statement about how was the relationship, If you were physically abused, pictures of the marks you got, unfortunately. If a friend of yours ever saw what happened to you, was a witness of it, they could also write letters to you, explaining what they saw. Psychological evaluation is a very strong evidence. Okay. Actually, for any case, a psychological evaluation is something that we should always submit.
All right.
Mhm.
Emanuela says, do I need to prove that my marriage was real before the abuse happened?
I just want to add one thing to the previous question. Sometimes text messages, emails, whatever you have that prove the abuse, it's fine.
All right.
For the marriage was real. Okay. Was the marriage real to you? Did you firmly believe that you were married? And you need to prove the bona fides of the marriage. Like sometimes you truly believe that you are married to the person and you have built the life together, short or long life together, but the other part was lying to you and you didn't know. But for you, it was real. So then you can apply for the VAWA based on that. Of course, you have to have strong evidence for that. It was not because of you, but because of the U.S. citizen or the resident, the other spouse, that like the marriage was not valid, right? But one of the requirements, the bona fides of the marriage. When you talk about real, actually the bona fide, you really entered in the marriage in good faith. You did not enter the marriage to circumvent immigration law, to get a document. No, you really got married with that person. So if the marriage was bona fide, even though it was real or not, like because of the other part, it's different. But did you get into the marriage in good faith? Then yes, you can apply.
All right. Rajiv is asking, I want to know if I can apply for a work permit while my VAWA case is pending.
If you only have the VAWA application, no. The work permit will be issued to you after it's approved, not before that. The exception, if your spouse is a U.S. citizen, you can file for the VAWA and the adjustment of status, right? The green card petition. And with the green card, remember, you need to check if you have any inadmissibility issues. If you do not have inadmissibility issues, you can file for the green card along with the VAWA. And then based on the green card, then yes, you can get the work authorization. But if it's just the VAWA, no.
All right. Saidit is asking, what is the common mistake people make when applying for VAWA so I can avoid it?
If not just VAWA, what everyone needs to be mindful is that whatever application you have already filed in the past, the government is crossing the applications, the information. So inconsistencies on your forms, inconsistencies on your history, inconsistencies on your statements, those are the main things that everyone should be looking at, not just the VAWA applicants, okay? Yeah. So if you were married, previous marriage, any trace of fraud, anything that could get your life harder, this is something that you should be mindful to avoid. Was that clear?
It is very clear, Tim. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us for this special edition webinar. And thank you, Attorney Josie Morais, for sharing your knowledge and practical guidance with us today.
It was a pleasure. Hope I have helped many people around.
I think you have. To everyone else, you can always visit immigrationquestion.com to ask immigration-related questions, stay informed about policy updates, and register for upcoming live events. If you missed any part of today's important discussion, the replay will be available soon on Spotify. Just search Borderless Talk by immigrationquestion.com. We look forward to seeing you on Friday at our next live session. Until then, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay connected. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.